So, surprise! You didn't know about that before. And let me explain a little bit about this morning. Probably about the time you guys were doing the invocation and pledge. I was sleeping in heaven, so calm, so happy. And then I heard Barbara's ring on my phone. I thought, no! I slept in. So I really appreciate you letting me still sneak in and give my speech, because one of the reasons why I chose to give this speech right now is because I was thinking about my mom for Mother's Day. So hopefully the nature of this speech will still honor her despite the slapped together beginning. Sharon Pearson was raised in the 1940s and 50s in the cute suburbs of Salt Lake City, Utah. She didn't attend church regularly when she was a little girl. However, when she was about 12, her friend Marilyn started to take her to church with her. Marilyn and her mother kind of took Sharon under their wings. So Marilyn and Sharon started to learn about marriage in the temple of the Lord from their Sunday school teacher. Their Sunday school teacher was a young newlywed who had just gotten married in the temple. So she was very excited about her marriage. One interesting fact is this teacher actually got married, and then her husband was called on a mission for 2 years. So her husband was overseas for this whole time. And yet, Sharon's teacher talked about how this temple marriage helped her and her husband feel so close as a couple. Sharon also learned that marriage in the temple of the Lord helps families to be together forever, even after death, and helps families return to the presence of God. In other words, Sharon knew that if she got married in the temple of the Lord, she could live with God again, and she could be with her family forever. Now, Sharon loved her family, and she thought this goal of a temple marriage was a wonderful concept. And she committed as a young teenager to do this. Now, there were a few obstacles for Sharon. Like Kate mentioned, it was easy for me as a Latter-day Saint to get married in the temple. Well, relatively easy. For my mother, it was not. First of all, there was her family situation. Then there was my mom's personality. My mom's family situation is interesting. To be able to enter the temple of the Lord, you have to have high standards, much like a Catholic wedding, where you have to go through certain things and answer certain questions and have good training. You have to do that to enter the temple of the Lord. Well, Sharon's family wasn't quite that type of family. In fact, her father was an alcoholic. Many times, Sharon would go outside after her father was out drinking the night before and find her dad asleep in his car with his feet sticking out the window. We don't know whether he was too embarrassed to get into the house and sleep, or he was too drunk to get out of the car. But we sure are grateful that he made it safely home driving, because we don't know how he did it. The other thing were her siblings. Both her older brother and sister had to get married as teenagers. Well, her brother got married when he was 16 because his wife was pregnant. Her sister, unfortunately, by the time she found out she was pregnant, her boyfriend had married somebody else in a shotgun wedding. So Sharon watched her sister struggle for the first 2 years to raise a child on her own. This helped Sharon commit to herself that she didn't want to be like her brother and sister. But here's a problem with Sharon's family. If her family couldn't be in the temple with her, they couldn't be at her wedding. Many people in Sharon's situation decided just to not get married in the temple. It was easier that way. But Sharon decided for herself that even if her parents couldn't be there, that she was going to have that blessing for herself. And she was wise enough, even as a teenager, to see that her parents could choose what they were going to do. But she was going to make her own decision and stick by it. So everything was great. Sharon graduated from high school and was in college, dating a little bit. But here comes our next challenge. Sharon's personality. She was so shy. She was afraid of guys. And she didn't really have the social skills that would be preferred for dating and eventually marrying. So it was very difficult for her. Now, many women in Sharon's sorority would set her up on dates, which was very nice. I think they had the best of intentions, but I don't think they thought about it very well, because they always set her up with the shyest boy that they knew to go along with the shyest girl in the world. So these two people would be sitting together on the date, awkward as can be, and hardly spoke a word to each other the whole time. Sharon's dating experiences were not very good. That is, until Roy Henriksen came on the scene. He and his twin brother had just gotten back from their missions, and the girls in Sharon's sorority were going crazy because these boys looked like high school kids, but they were still 21 or 22. Well, they were so cute, and eventually somebody set Sharon up on a date with Roy. She was amazed. This guy actually talked to her. He was fun. They had a wonderful time. It looked like things were going to go well for Sharon. But she knew she couldn't stick to her old shy ways. She could have sat in the women's lounge and studied the whole time, but she decided to be out where Roy would be and to say hi and to make an effort to talk to him. And she did it. It really worked, because then, for the winter dance, Roy asked her on a date. No, it wasn't that easy. Sharon turned him down. Yes, she said no, and this is why. She had to work the night shift at the post office all week, and she knew she couldn't be working very well if she was out dancing all night. So she turned him down. I don't know what his response was. He probably just thought she wasn't very interested. So the next month, Sharon knew she had to do something. She had to overcome her reservations. And she did. She asked into her sorority's date dance. And Roy said yes. They had a wonderful time. In fact, they kept dating from that point on. And Roy's twin brother, Ray, talked about Sharon's little sister, Sandy, the whole time, even though he was on a date with somebody else. For the next 9 months, the four of them, Sharon and Roy, and their brother and sister, double dated until the time they got engaged. They did achieve the goal of marriage in the temple of the Lord, so their family could be together forever. Now, whatever happened to Sharon's mom and dad? Well, guess what? They decided that they would change their ways. Sharon's dad stopped drinking, and 2 days before Sharon and Roy got married in the temple of the Lord, her parents did too. And I can tell you for a fact that they lived happily ever after. Sharon and Roy have raised 9 children, 8 of which have been married and been married in the temple. It was much easier for us children, but we're so grateful for a mother who overcame adversity to do it for us. Let's hear it for Sharon Pearson Henriksen.